Welcome to In the Mix. I'm Abby Brody. When we're in the mix, we're having real conversations about higher education. Higher education is rapidly changing, and it needs to meet the demands of today and tomorrow. This is a conversation we all need to be a part of. So come join us as we get into the mix. Hello and welcome. We are in the mix. I'm Abby Brody, and I could not be more excited about our legendary guest today. It is the one and only Ryan Serhant. You know him. He is the most successful real estate broker in the world, definitely the most recognizable. He is founder and CEO of Serhant, a multifaceted brokerage firm that leverages media, entertainment, and, you guessed it, education. Ryan's a record breaker. He's breaking all the records. $4 billion worth of sales in real estate, 2 best-selling books, and you've seen him on TV, including the Emmy-nominated show $1 Million Listing. He's a go-getter, and we want to learn how that journey happened. So welcome, Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, so happy to have you. How you doing?
Good. What an intro. I was like, man, I need to live up to these standards.
You're like, I want to be that guy. No, you are that guy. So Ryan, we're all about education. Our audience, our youth and educators trying to figure out how to make it in the world and what their next steps are. So I've done a little digging on you.
Sure.
And I know that you are a graduate of Hamilton and a theater and English major. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the only way my parents would send me to college is if I had a real major. So it had to be, I wasn't going to be math or history or biochemistry, so English seemed like a good one, read and write, which who knew, but later in life would come in super handy.
So was college always something you wanted to do, or was it something you thought it was just expected?
I didn't think too much about it. I mean, it was expected. It's like the thing you need to do. You go to high school. I went to a I guess, quote unquote, a prep school, college preparatory high school in the North Shore of Boston in order to get into a good college so that I could go off and get a good W-2 paying job and raise a nice family afterwards. And I've never had a W-2 paying job since I graduated in 2006. So I don't know how that worked out, but Hamilton was great. It was a good school for me. I don't think college is for everybody. I don't think the debt is for anybody. But I think for me, I was too young to have gone into the world, right? I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to college. I'm just going to go to work. I'm like, when I was 18, I was not prepared to be on the corner of 34th and Lexington selling something to make a living. Like I just wasn't there yet. And college really helped me think and write analytically, and helped me grow up, helped me get out of the house. You gotta get smart.
Do your laundry, like those things that you kind of take for granted.
Yeah. I mean, my passion was performance. So my passion was theater, but my parents wouldn't let me go to Juilliard or NYU or anywhere that had a specialty in theater because all they said to me over and over was, you have to be well-rounded. If theater doesn't work out, what are you going to do? Right? Why would you go to a school that is basically a technical institute for performance? What if when you're 25, which at that time seems I was like 25, I'm so old. You don't like it anymore. What are you going to do? You have to go back to school. Like you're not going to have a credential or anything. So go to liberal arts school, get a degree, right? Be able to say you went to college and learn a little bit about a lot. And it was annoying. And my parents also made me call them every Sunday, which I still do, and give them a report on my week. So what did I learn? What I learned in classes, grades, everything. The same way I had to do every night since I was a little kid through high school was give a report on the day. And I hated it at the time, but like, man, oh man, did it help. And did that like really, really, influence the way I lead my life now and work.
So, all right, so you graduated, you got the degrees, you did it all, as you checked those boxes. You were thrust out. You're now older. What happened?
So before I graduated, all of my friends were either going to law school, to med school, or they had jobs with investment banks from internships they'd had through the summers previously. So that's kind of like what you do, especially when you're in a liberal arts school in upstate New York. Um, and so I took the LSAT. I studied really, really hard. I thought, okay, English major, I should probably go to law school. It's safer. And I totally bombed it. That's a really, really hard test. It's not for me. And so I told my parents, listen, uh, I'm not going to go to law. I can't get into law school. Like, I'm not going to be a lawyer. And I'd rather regret the things I did than the things I never tried. So I've got money saved up from construction jobs in the summer. I was like a contractor's laborer and a ranch hand for every single summer since I was a freshman in high school. And so I had that money, and my grandfather had died and left us all like a little bit, like 10 grand. And so it's like, this could last me a long time. So I'm going to go to New York. I got to try this acting thing, this theater thing. I won't go to LA. I'll stay close because my parents are in Boston. So I'll go to New York. We rented me and two friends who were both law, rented a we rented a 1-bedroom on 66 and First. We converted it into a 3-bedroom. I lived in the half of the living room. My roommate, who had a real job at Cadwalader, which is a big law firm, he had the bedroom, and then the guy that was working for the government had half the kitchen. And so we had walls, and so that was great. We got broken into twice. That was not great. But my parents told me when they showed up and they saw where I was going to be living, that they fear for my safety, and that if I'm going to do this and be in New York without a job and just living on savings like a lunatic, then I have to work harder than both of my roommates, one who worked at the DA and one who worked for a corporate litigation firm. So they were like, you need to wake up before they do, and you need to go to bed after they do, and you need to work all day long, at least Monday through Friday. You work. You're not going to be this like little actor who's running around going to the gym at 11 a.m. Like, you work. And so that's what I did. It's like I woke up, I submitted myself for resumes. I went and stood in actors equity audition lines in Times Square starting at 6 a.m. to not ever get seen. I did free theater. I had my acting coach. We did monologue study. I tried to network as much as I possibly could. I quickly got onto a soap opera called As the World Turns. And then I very quickly got killed off of it. And so then I started hand modeling to pay the bills. I held phones for AT&T and Nespresso for a while. And then I ran out of money from savings. And instead of getting a temp job or becoming a waiter or becoming a bartender, I got my real estate license because a friend told me to. It was the summer of 2008. He said, listen, you can't just be a hand model the rest of your life. Like, get your real estate license, rent apartments off Craigslist. If you rent an apartment for $4,000 a month, your commission, your take home is going to be $2,000. That's your rent and expenses and extra. And all you have to do that once a month. And the rest of your month, you can do all your acting stuff, your hand modeling, your soaps, whatever you want to do. You buy time instead of like having to be at the bar every day at 6 p.m. It's like, all right, that job sounds terrible, but sure, I guess I'll do it. And I just became addicted to it. I started the day Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. That was day one. And I hated the business, but I loved it at the same time because it is a roller coaster. But there is nothing more emotionally terrible than trying to be an actor in New York City. That's for sure. That had been so personal about my face, right? Now it's like, right, you don't want an apartment? Is it because of my face? No? Okay, on to the next one. Who else out on these streets? You're pregnant? You want an apartment? You need more space. You good? Like, and so I just got addicted to the idea that every single person could be a potential client, and I can control my own destiny. And the harder I work, the luckier I'll get. And I put acting completely to the side. I basically just quit because it wasn't making me happy. It was really, really, really tough. And I wasn't making any money, and I had to survive. Otherwise, it was go home to Colorado and like recollect my thoughts. You know, what am I going to do with my life type thing? And then a year and a half later, there was a casting call for a spin-off show of Bravo's $1 Million Listing that was based in LA. And they were looking for the top real estate agents in New York and to show up at the Hudson Hotel in Times Square. This was in March of 2010. So 11 years ago. And tell us why you're the best. And I was like, all right, I do rentals for like $2,000 to $3,000 a month with like 4 roommates. I'm pretty great. But I know how to act. I know how to be in front of a camera. Right. And so I went to that hotel with 3,000 other real estate agents. And so that was so I guess 7 months later of auditions and callbacks and this, that, the other, they cast me on the show. And that season 1 premiered in 2012. Season 9 premieres on May 6th of this year.
Oh my
And I used that exposure to build my career and build my business. No one called. It wasn't like the phone rang off the hook. Like, when was the last time you called someone on TV? Like, you talked to Kendall Jenner a lot? Probably not.
Not
Right?
recently. No.
Yeah. So like me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but the business came from my outreach saying, hey, I'm on a TV show. Can I sell your house? And people saying, wait, excuse me, what? You're on a what? Yeah. This is how it works. I could put your apartment on TV and I can sell it. And I'm better than everybody else. They're like, oh, okay. And slowly but surely, you do that 20 times a day, you start to build business. And that's how I went from a theater English major at Hamilton College to being in real estate and to being on a real estate TV show.
That's incredible. I mean, clearly, luck has played a role, but hard work. I'm hearing a lot of hard work, waking up before everyone goes to bed. Tell us about the school of life, okay? What does it take? And how did you learn this role? I mean, you had no background in real estate, you stumbled into it, but yet you're quite good at it. How did you learn what are the skills?
I've never reinvented the wheel, but someone told me when I got into the business, look at the people who are doing it the best, take the best and leave the rest. Take what works for you, copy them, imitate them. What are they doing? What do they wear? How do they talk? What are their emails like? How do they structure their day? And then the things you don't like, the things that are weird, things that don't work for you, leave it behind. Use imitation as the fuel for your car that'll be unique to everybody else. And that'll get you at least to the starting line. And so I did. I went to broker open houses. I looked at the agents in my office, kind of saw what they were doing. And I'd been an actor for a long time, or at least tried to be. And so I knew how to imitate. I knew how to be other people. And I knew how to use the power of improv, which is all about saying yes, yes, and. So any client I ever had, any request, yes. Yep, I'll make it work. Can you show me apartments in this place? This is yes. And then I hang up the phone and say, well, what did I just agree to? Damn it. Yes. But then some of those clients ended up being some of my best because no one would have said yes to them because they were crazy at first. And I memorized information, right? One of the turning point deals for me was, I just wrote about it actually in the book that's sitting behind me, my second book, Big Money Energy. Because it was the deal that taught me confidence. Because for my first year, 2008, 2009, I was really just doing rentals and had zero confidence. I didn't even have a suit. And I was mostly focused on acting, right? My first year was, I just need to pay my bills. And I had no confidence in myself as an agent. I only really kind of worked in Koreatown and Murray Hill, which if you're familiar with New York, is just like the 30s, right? And I posted ads on Craigslist for apartments, and that's how I got my clients. That was it. And I just did that every day, all day. And then this woman from China reaches out to me and says, she's looking for an apartment. Would I be able to help her? She's looking for an agent. It's like, yeah, sure. And she's like, I'm looking to buy. I'd never done a sale. I'm like, yes. Like, okay. I'm looking to spend between $1 and $3 million US. I'm like, yes. Okay. She's like, I'm looking for my daughter. She's not born yet, but this will be an investment for her. Yes. Okay. Sure. And I just knew that this person, she doesn't know me. She doesn't know what I look like. She doesn't know I don't have a suit. She doesn't know that I live in a 200 square foot apartment in Koreatown and share a bathroom with 16 other people. Like, for all she knows, I'm the greatest real estate agent in the world. And you know what? One day I will be. So why not start being that person today? So when she comes next week, I'm going to show her that I know exactly what I'm doing. So there's no question. And so I bought my first suit at Macy's. I put a car service on my credit card, which was freaking terrifying. And I memorized, just like I did as an actor, I memorized all the information I possibly would need that she would ask me questions to. So I would never have to say, and all the buildings I was going to take her to, I memorized all the information, the amount of apartments that were in them, when it was built, who the architect was, who the contractor was, who's lived there, what the comps were, what the facade is made of, anything. I don't know. Just a woman from China showing up. I don't know who she is. And she's going to be pregnant. And so I memorized all that information, and she showed up. I took her around. She liked one apartment. We negotiated a deal at 2 a.m. at the St. Regis Hotel when she asked me to get her a burger and curly fries because she wanted American food, for $2.1 million. And that deal changed everything because it showed me that experience means something if you want it to mean something. All people care about when you're selling or acting or doing anything is your confidence in yourself. Because if you're confident in yourself, people will be confident in you. Like if you're at a doctor's office and the guy comes in and he's like, so I think I know what to do. You're going to be like, are you sure? Wait, what do you mean? What like, are you sure? But if he comes in and says, here's what's wrong, here's how we're going to fix it, I know what to do, you're in good hands, you're going to just say, okay, let's go. You're the doctor. And that taught me a lot. And so from that deal then led to a lot of other deals. I started building a team. I've never done that before. I ended up building one of the largest sales teams in the country. We were 65 agents between 2 coasts. And then we became the number 1 selling sales team in New York in 2017. And then we started averaging about $1 billion in sales a year. I then wrote my first book, Like Serhant, which just taught people how to sell, which had basically just been all my notes for 8 years. Like, how do I sell? What did I learn? How do I talk? How do I structure my day? Bravo then took that and turned it into a spin-off show called Sell It Like Serhant. And then we took that and turned it into an online course, which has become a pretty big sales course. We started in 2019. Because training and education is really, really important to me. And then last year I said, you know what? New York is kind of on fire. There's a pandemic. 1 million people have left the city. I've been doing this now 12 years. I think I'm going to start my own company because I don't think anyone else is going to do that right now in 2020. And so that's what I did in September. And here we are 6 months later.
Congratulations. That is incredibly inspiring. Now let's talk about this online piece. I love the fact that you said how you learned was through others, right? It wasn't a class. It wasn't your degree. That didn't teach you how to be the confident real estate broker that you are. But by copying others, by learning from others' examples and leaving the stuff behind. Now you've taken all that knowledge and you've dumped it into this course, which we're really excited about MYX, because students at MYX can come and take your course while living with us and getting all that life experience.
Nice.
Talk about this course and why a young adult should be really considering this when they're looking at their education options, because there's numerous.
Yeah, what's been so interesting is like if you have an interest in something, you can now learn specifically how to do that specific thing online. You don't have to go to a liberal arts school and get a degree and then sort of figure it out, right? If you want to learn how to sell anything, you can take this course. If you want to learn how to weld, there are courses online that'll teach you how to weld. Some of the biggest courses online, honestly, are how to handle flowers, like how to be professional at handling orchids. Like those courses are insane. It's nuts. So like hobbies and all that. But so I wanted to create a platform for something that everything I've done has always been about, okay, I have a problem. How do I fix it? So the problem I had when I got into the business was there was no real estate coach or sales professional or anyone who really understood what it was that I was doing, who could help, who could mentor, who could teach me. Like there was no class. I had no training whatsoever. I was told, put ads on Craigslist, meet people on corner, rent them apartments, you'll figure it out. Right. And so So it sucked. And there are a couple real estate teachers and coaches and sales professionals out there, but they're much older. Their content was cut together in 1997, and most of them have never sold anything. They're just professional coaches, and that also weirds me out. Like I want to learn from someone who knows what I'm doing. I want to learn from somebody who's going through exactly what I'm going through right now. Like if I have a deal problem, I want the person I'm learning from to say, I've got a similar problem last week. This is how I fixed it because I do what you do. I'm in it with you. And so that's what Like Serhant was. And that's what we turned the course into, which has become so much bigger than just the actual course, which is there, and it's huge and it's like the foundation, but it's become this incredible mentorship and membership platform, where we converse with and create new courses, new materials, have new trainings, everything almost every day now, for what I think is about 7,000 salespeople now around the world in 108 countries or something like that. And we have a referral network, and there's a mentorship program for people. There's a branding program. There's everything, and it's been really, really helpful to a lot of people. And that's what's been fun for me to watch is now that we've been doing it since August 2019, and we went through the craziness of 2020, like right when we started. I get these emails now every day saying like, "Hey, I was going to quit the business until I started learning from you. And now I just bought my first car, right? And now I just paid off all my student loans. Now I just started my own team and I'm about to start my own firm. Thank you for teaching me how. No one else teaches us how to do this because salespeople typically just keep it all inside, right? You don't want to give the information out. No, it's mine. It's IP. It's personal. It's like, no, what is personal is you. Like in our business, like you can, I mean, look at athletes. Like you can try to be LeBron James all you want. Maybe you'll be as good or better. Maybe you got to work really hard, but you're never going to be him. So he can teach you how to, dunk all day long. It's up to you what you do with that information. And so it's been really, really fun and rewarding and a big part of our life now.
I love what you just said about online learning too. We're around the same age. I looked you up. When we had little options, mine too. My roommates were all law school, finance, the same thing, right? And I was just like going into education, which was like the stupidest thing anyone had ever heard of. You'll never make a living. You'll be poor your whole life. But nowadays, you have the possibility of curating your future. And if you do know, and I have spoken to a few individuals, youth, who know they want to be in real estate. They know they're super passionate about sales. This is what they want to do. Yeah. They're about to take on huge student loans to go to a liberal arts school because that's always been the path.
Yeah.
Now there's choices. So what do you say to the many people in our audience who are tuning in who want to be like you? They do, right? They want to be in real estate. This is what they want to do. They're graduating high school. Their parents are saying, no. You have to go to the 4-year institution. What would be your advice to them?
Listen, I still think if you can go to college, if you can afford it, if your parents are paying for you, if you're okay taking on student loans because you don't think you're ready to enter the workplace, like go. I would not be where I am if it were not for that liberal arts degree because I didn't know it at the time, and you never do, right? But the way I write my emails, in correct sentences, the professional way that I present myself, I learned as an English major in the woods in Clinton, New York. Like the way that I am able to adapt to different surroundings and talk to people about a little bit about everything is because I took every damn class when I was there because my parents made me, because even though Hamilton College is super liberal and has no core curriculum, my dad had a core curriculum. So I had to take it. And it was just really, really helpful to me just to learn how to be on your own, work, and be by yourself, right? I think if anyone wants to get into real estate, you have to realize real quick, most people like being told what to do, and they actually enjoy complaining about it. If you want to be an entrepreneur, which is what being a salesperson is, especially in real estate, there is no salary, there are no benefits. You eat what you kill. And no one tells you what to do, right? It is all up to you. So you can show up at 10, you can show up at noon, you can complain about the week all you want. And that's why I think it's like 82% of all newly licensed real estate agents quit in the first 12 months because they can't make money, uh, and they realize that they just want a job. They'd rather complain about their 9 to 5 than have to make something of themselves. And so, if you want to be like me, you've got to be the kind of person who is able to structure their day with incredible discipline and take care of the work, right? And that's the ethos I live by, right? Which is if you do the work will take care of you, right? If you put in the work, because I'm by far not the most networked agent. I'm not the wealthiest. Like I got lucky with a TV show, but at the TV show when Million Dollar Listing started, it was a joke. Like now everyone's like, oh, well, you had a TV show. Yeah, but in 2012 when it came out, it was a joke. It was no one in New York's ever going to list with someone on a Bravo TV show. Like, would they list with a real housewife? No. Like it's a joke. It's you just ruined your career. That was everybody. Um, and it was like, yeah, maybe, but also maybe not. Um, uh, and you have to be, you've got to be structured and you've got to work incredibly hard, through thick and through thin, and understand that it's going to take 3 years, right? So even if you don't go to college or you don't go to law school or you don't go to med school, think about it as your first 3 years are your graduate degree, right? If you make money, you're lucky. You might just spend a lot of money on like living expenses. You might have to ask friends for help. It might be really, really tough. And you might cry like you would at law school because you have so much work, you don't know what to do. But you make it through those first 3 years, and the odds of you being wildly successful really, really, really go up.
That's such good advice, because so it's true. We, especially, in the age of instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
These kids have everything at their fingertips, just with
Mhm.
one click. It's going to take perseverance. You got to see it through.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll end on that, Ryan. It is truly an honor to have you on. Like, you are everything everyone says, kind. And we, as educators, want to thank you for paying it forward, because you're right. There was this not type of education out there. And now people have the opportunity to learn from someone passionate like yourself. So thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having me.